ꯑꯃꯅꯤ ꯑꯗꯨꯒ ꯉꯁꯥꯏꯒꯤ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯤꯕ ꯇ꯭ꯔꯦꯗꯤꯁꯅꯦꯜ ꯑꯦꯄ꯭ꯔꯣꯆꯀꯤ ꯀꯩꯅꯣꯁꯤꯗꯩꯗ ꯑꯃꯨꯛ ꯇꯣꯉꯥꯟ ꯇꯣꯉꯥꯟꯕ ꯑꯦꯄ꯭ꯔꯣꯆꯦꯁꯁꯤꯡ ꯀꯣ ꯃꯆꯥ ꯈꯥꯏꯅ ꯈꯥꯏꯗꯣꯛꯄ ꯑꯁꯤꯗꯩꯗ ꯑꯃꯨꯛ ꯐꯤꯂꯣꯁꯣꯐꯤꯀꯦꯜ ꯑꯣꯏꯅ ꯌꯦꯡꯉꯛꯄꯗꯅ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯤꯕ ꯇ꯭ꯔꯦꯗꯤꯁꯅꯦꯜ ꯑꯦꯄ꯭ꯔꯣꯆꯁꯤꯗꯩꯗ ꯃꯔꯨꯑꯣꯏꯅ ꯄ꯭ꯂꯦꯇꯣ ꯑꯦꯔꯤꯁꯇꯣꯇꯜ ꯍꯣꯏ ꯂꯩ ꯍꯤꯁꯇꯣꯔꯤꯀꯦꯜꯒꯤ ꯑꯣꯏꯕ ꯀꯩꯅꯣꯗꯒꯤ ꯀꯣ ꯄꯔꯁꯄꯦꯛꯇꯤꯞꯇ ꯍꯥꯏꯕ ꯇꯥꯔꯦ ꯑꯦꯄ꯭ꯔꯣꯆꯁꯦ ꯊꯝꯃꯛꯄꯁꯤꯗꯅ ꯃꯦꯀꯤꯌꯥꯚꯦꯂꯤ ꯍꯣꯏ ꯀꯣ ꯃꯣꯟꯇꯦꯁꯀ꯭ꯋꯤ ꯍꯣꯏ ꯂꯩꯔꯦ ꯑꯗꯨꯅ ꯁꯨꯃꯥꯏꯅ ꯇꯧꯗꯅ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯂꯤꯒꯦꯂꯤꯁꯇꯤꯛꯀꯤꯗꯁꯨ ꯀꯣ ꯊꯣꯃꯥꯁ ꯍꯣꯕꯁ ꯍꯣꯏ ꯖꯦꯔꯃꯤ ꯕꯦꯟꯊꯥꯝ ꯍꯣꯏ ꯃꯌꯥꯝ ꯑꯃ ꯀꯣ ꯑꯗꯨꯃꯥꯏꯅ lay. Traditional approaches have their inherent weakness and limitations. They are also normative and idealistic in the sense that their analysis stress more on values and norms of politics. Traditional approaches in philosophical, legalistic, historical, institutional traditional approaches sagonazaba magi ꯑꯁꯣꯟꯕ ꯀꯩꯅꯣꯁꯤꯡ ꯍꯥꯏꯇꯥꯔꯦ ꯃꯥꯒꯤ ꯃꯥꯅ ꯃꯄꯨꯡ ꯐꯥꯅ ꯐꯣꯡꯗꯣꯛꯄ ꯉꯝꯗꯕ ꯅꯠꯇ꯭ꯔꯒꯅ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯁꯨꯒꯥꯏꯅ ꯇꯥꯛꯄ ꯉꯝꯗꯕ ꯍꯥꯏꯇꯥꯔꯦ ꯃꯥꯒꯤ ꯑꯁꯣꯟꯕ ꯑꯋꯥꯠꯄꯁꯤꯡ ꯀꯣ weakness and limitations ꯃꯌꯥꯝ ꯑꯃ ꯂꯩꯌꯦꯕꯀꯣ ꯑꯗꯨꯒ ꯃꯈꯣꯏꯁꯤ ꯇ꯭ꯔꯦꯗꯤꯁꯅꯦꯜ ꯑꯦꯄ꯭ꯔꯣꯆꯁꯤꯅ ꯉꯁꯥꯏꯒꯤ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯅꯣꯔꯃꯦꯇꯤቭ ꯑꯣꯏꯕ ꯍꯥꯏꯗꯤ ꯁꯨꯝꯗꯧꯅ ꯑꯣꯏꯒꯗꯧꯕꯅꯤ ꯀꯣ ꯁꯨꯃꯥꯏꯅ ꯇꯧꯒꯗꯕꯅꯤ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯒꯤ ꯃꯑꯣꯡꯗ ꯑꯗꯨꯒꯨꯝꯕꯒꯤ ꯀꯩꯅꯣ ꯑꯃꯗ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯅꯣꯔꯃꯦꯇꯤቭ ꯑꯣꯏ ꯑꯗꯨꯒ ꯑꯥꯏꯗꯤꯌꯦꯂꯤꯁꯇꯤꯛꯁꯨ ꯑꯣꯏꯀꯣ realistic oide adana ngasai maikhoi analysis se traditional approaches sing analysis se ayamana koi values and norms ka politics ki values and norms ta koi sida hena mieng thamba da re ba adana sigi asonba myam si smai tawna traditional approach ki is minor like traditional approaches are also considered to be narrow since their analysis and descriptions are primarily confined to the study of Western political institutions and systems. ꯑꯗꯨꯒ ꯃꯔꯨꯑꯣꯏꯅ ꯑꯩꯅ ꯁꯤꯗ ꯊꯝꯖꯔꯤꯕ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯁꯤ ꯉꯁꯥꯏꯒꯤ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯂꯥꯏꯔꯤꯛꯇꯁꯨ ꯃꯥꯒꯤ ꯌꯥꯎꯕ ꯃꯔꯨꯑꯣꯏꯕ ꯍꯥꯏꯕ ꯇꯥꯔꯦ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ ꯈꯪꯗꯕ ꯌꯥꯗꯕ ꯑꯗꯨꯒꯤ ꯀꯩꯅꯣꯁꯤꯡꯗꯨꯅꯤꯀꯣ ꯑꯗꯨꯅ ꯇ꯭ꯔꯦꯗꯤꯁꯅꯦꯜ ꯑꯦꯄ꯭ꯔꯣꯆꯦꯁ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯒꯗꯤ ꯉꯁꯥꯏꯒꯤ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏ ꯁꯤꯗ ꯌꯥꯎꯔꯤꯕ ꯃꯥꯒꯤ ꯇꯣꯉꯥꯟ ꯇꯣꯉꯥꯟꯕ ꯑꯦꯄ꯭ꯔꯣꯆ ꯃꯆꯥ ꯃꯆꯥ ꯍꯥꯏꯇꯥꯔꯦꯀꯣ ꯁꯤꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯀꯩꯅꯣꯁꯤꯁꯨ ꯃꯥꯒꯤ ꯇꯣꯉꯥꯟꯕ ꯁꯛꯂꯣꯟ ꯑꯃ ꯂꯩ ꯑꯗꯨꯕꯨ when we club together this approaches under the category of traditional approaches ꯉꯁꯥꯏꯒꯤ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ ꯎꯕ ꯐꯪꯉꯤꯁꯤ ꯀꯩꯅꯣꯗ ꯃꯥꯒꯤ inherent weaknesses and limitations ꯂꯩꯕꯁꯤꯗꯩꯗ normative ꯑꯣꯏꯕ idealistic ꯑꯣꯏꯕ ꯑꯗꯨꯒ ꯃꯥꯒꯤ stress on values and norms of politics ꯍꯥꯏꯇꯥꯔꯦ ꯃꯁꯤꯁꯤꯅ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯑꯁꯣꯟꯕ ꯑꯋꯥꯠꯄ ꯀꯌꯥ ꯑꯃ ꯑꯗꯨꯃꯥꯏꯅ ꯄꯤꯕ ꯍꯥꯏꯇꯥꯔꯦ traditional approach ꯑꯗꯨꯒꯤ ꯃꯊꯛꯇ ꯑꯃꯨꯛ traditional approaches ꯁꯤꯡꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯃꯥꯒꯤ scope ꯍꯥꯏꯕ ꯇꯥꯔꯦ ꯃꯁꯤꯁꯨ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯅ narrow ꯑꯣꯏꯕ ꯌꯥꯝꯅ ꯈꯨꯕ ꯑꯗꯨꯒꯨꯝꯕ ꯀꯩꯅꯣ ꯑꯃ ꯑꯣꯏ ꯃꯁꯤ ꯀꯔꯤ ꯑꯣꯏꯅꯣ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯀꯥꯟꯗ ꯃꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯑꯦꯅꯥꯂꯤꯁꯤꯁ ꯑꯗꯨꯒ ꯗꯤꯁꯀ꯭ꯔꯤꯞꯁꯟꯁ ꯃꯌꯥꯝ ꯑꯁꯤ ꯑꯌꯥꯝꯕꯅ ꯋꯦꯁꯇꯔꯟ ꯄꯣꯂꯤꯇꯤꯀꯦꯜ ꯏꯟꯁꯇꯤꯇ꯭ꯌꯨꯁꯟꯁ ꯑꯦꯟड ꯁꯤꯁꯇꯦꯝꯁ ꯀꯣ ꯑꯗꯨꯅ ꯋꯦꯁꯇꯔꯟ ꯀꯟꯇ꯭ꯔꯤꯁꯤꯡꯒꯤ ꯍꯥꯏꯇꯥꯔꯦ ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯅꯣꯡꯆꯨꯞ ꯂꯩꯕꯥꯛꯀꯤ ꯃꯔꯨꯑꯣꯏꯅ ꯌꯨꯔꯣꯞ ꯑꯃꯗꯤ ꯅꯣꯔꯗꯔꯟ ꯑꯃꯦꯔꯤꯀꯥꯒꯤ ꯂꯩꯔꯤꯕ ꯂꯩꯕꯥꯛ ꯈꯔꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯃꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯃꯔꯝꯗ ꯅꯩꯅꯕ ꯀꯣ ꯑꯗꯨꯒꯨꯝꯕ ꯃꯑꯣꯡꯗ ꯂꯩꯕ ꯍꯥꯏꯇꯥꯔꯦ ꯃꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯄꯣꯂꯤꯇꯤꯀꯦꯜ ꯁꯤꯁꯇꯦꯝꯁ ꯑꯗꯨꯒ ꯏꯟꯁꯇꯤꯇ꯭ꯌꯨꯁꯟꯁꯤꯡ ꯑꯁꯤ ꯅꯩꯅꯕꯗ ꯍꯦꯟꯅ ꯄꯨꯛꯅꯤꯡ ꯋꯥꯈꯜ ꯂꯨꯞꯄꯒ ꯂꯩꯕ ꯑꯗꯨꯒꯨꯝꯕ ꯃꯑꯣꯡ ꯑꯃ ꯑꯣꯏꯕꯅꯤꯅ ꯇ꯭ꯔꯦꯗꯤꯁꯅꯦꯜ ꯑꯦꯄ꯭ꯔꯣꯆꯦꯁꯁꯤꯡꯁꯤꯒꯤ ꯃꯥꯒꯤ ꯀꯩꯅꯣꯁꯤꯁꯨ ꯁ꯭ꯀꯣꯞꯁꯤꯁꯨ ꯌꯥꯝ ꯅꯦꯔꯣ ꯑꯣꯏꯗꯅ ꯑꯗꯨꯃꯥꯏꯅ ꯂꯩꯀꯣ Despite their limitations, these approaches largely remain popular till the mid-20th. Then various modern approaches were developed aiming to remove the inherent weakness of traditional approaches. aduna ngasai haiba weakness aduga limitations sing asi magi asonba awatpasing si leiragasu akoigi traditional approaches sing asi akoigi kunsuba sahi sagi takai salakpa ko mid 20th century gi swai kaino si phawda akoigi kaino si traditional approaches ki magi maseng mangal pha na haiba tare magi kaino si popularity se ko ya phasana akoigi leirami adugi matungdagi di magi asonba wapa myam sida akoigi mieng thamakanda ngasai madu singnaba haiba tare madudagi hena afaba matik sabani haidana ngasai modern approaches kya akoigi semgale ko adana haiba modern approaches myam sigi manung sida kari kari yawi haragadi this include behavioral approach post behavioral systems approach ka masi hoina unit 4 da sathariba koi systems approach is modern approach amani ka aduga structural functional aduga communication approach haidana koi sumai to modern approaches kya ma tholakre aduna hoji phawda koi na u fangizi ngasai comparative politics ki any kind of political inquiry mas maina to ka sida koina sizinariba process se kogi hana mamangai dagi lairamniba aduga hoji hoji kayani chanariba sigi keno si yengu kanda kogi broadly sarangna kogi makhalje ani thona khaidui habadani aduga hamada laisina traditional approach ni ani subda laisina kogi modern approach ni aduga ngasi bana tamgodoriba kogi systems approach ki keno si su kogi modern approach amani habadani ka. These approaches seek to present scientific, realistic, and analytical perspectives of politics. Aduna ngasai traditional approaches ka modern approaches ka kena badu ngasai mamang na sai badu mai tawduna magi descriptive word ba normative word ba idealistic word ba ko adu ba pot me ama lai ke aduna ngasai modern approaches ne jina mo kai masina magi advancement ha ta magi kumang solution masina kai ma kanda he na scientific reasoning si keno sida kom thanglan ba aduga realistic way ba idealistic way da ba magi taseng na magi potugi lei ba keno duda what it is I was da is the focus to by there ba aduga analytical so way ba my descriptive way da adu ni ada ni na magi sugaina haibagi mota karigi why have a questions magi analytical way da the how and why is ngai we can consider like analytical can consider sorry CL already was aduna ngasai gi scientific way ba realistic way ba aduga analytical way ba posela mina ngasai gi keno sidai da lairizi hojiki modern approach lairizi ngasai modern approach na traditional approach gi hena khumang section badu ko the developments of modern approaches is said to have brought a revolutionary change in the study of comparative politics which was according to Armon and Powell directed towards the search for more comprehensive scope and Armon and Powell haiba ko gi masangna ba ko gi modern approaches ki proponents have tare mekoina thamba waphamda ngasai modern process tholok pasi ngasai yamna soba yawola ma tare ngasai comparative politics gi naina wasida revolutionary change zamani anobi yawola mani haidana thamni karigino haika na haiba modern process me amsigi magi wakhani si kai da maroina thamgya ba kanda the search for more comprehensive scope ngasai mamangda traditional approaches ki magi weaknesses nainaba kana koina magi weaknesses se kaino limitations se kaino harpa kana ngasai my focus is western countries singi magi political institutions sing ka adu da wena ayamba mieng thamagi pot am le my scope se pi yare adana modern approach the ke ba the search for more comprehensive scope na ba tongan ba western country ka na ta ba to pale ba ko kai communist system chappa wagera adagi newly independent countries wagera maling tongan leba mayam si ke no se koi si punna consult laga koi naina ba adu magi comprehensive way scope no ko ama adu gi thi ba ba dare madu gi phangna ba hona koi ke no ma mi sound time be the search for realism idealism dagi koi thado ra ka koi realism da realistic way ba study analysis ka somda koi wakhan sangba adu boy aduga see the search for precision akoina tawbi ba approach dai da koi methods in seasonal to ba myam da koi precision je pamakoni na ngasai gi ke do ba hena precise way na bo hona na da research se my scientific way scientific orientation ma la gi pora mani ko aduga the search for the theoretical order ko aduga my theory da sagat ba magi ko adumba pham mai ba tare adumba research ki kai ma way ba ko magi variables me am sagi marak lainari ba mari ko madu no me am do yamna critically analyze taro kanda magi madu da phang pa sumarani wa khondo madu thido pai tare se na ga de kai lo ba adu magi theoretical order magi ko da yeng sang ba du bo ko yana innovative way having thagesen na angonum sum power na haise ko adana system approach having kai no haidana mo kai makata ni si system approach is the study of interrelated variables forming one system, a unit, a whole which is composed of many facts, a set of elements standing in interaction. Aduna systems approach ki magi basic study of interrelated variables forming one system, a unit. Unit amadi kaino haganda mai pagi posak ama hagatare pagi posak ama oina pagi leiba ko apunba masak ama saktam ama da ko sagi adu haiba kaino state da unit state da sagi variables me amadi yauri like variables ani be ahum we be ko the hem asu ya adu haiba variables in si magi kayani masing marakta interrelated oiba amaga se koigi yamna asepa mari leina habtare ko interrelated variables myam sigi magi mari zina tasan khonjal lakanda system ama oina unit ama oina ko same ane ko aduga apunba whole ama oi sing sagi haiba variables in mari leina ba variables in sigi tasan khonjal ba apunba masaga se masike dawe kanda which is composed of many facts, a set of elements standing in interaction. Haiba whole apunba saktam ka masdeda sagi facts me ama yauri sets of element a set of elements me ama da madana constitute to daga mai koisi in a constant state of kayani interaction amaga se koigi amana amada influence tawraga amana amada ethil pira kana dumaina operate to ba du ba koigi kayani whole kano ma da structure ma da re ko dumaina way na system approach ki my study je maroina basically to understand the whole and the set of elements in it which are in a state of constant interaction. Adugi pibam da kogi system da kogi naina buduna. This approach assumes that the system consists of discernible, regular, and internally consistent patterns is interacting with another and giving on the whole the picture of a self-regulating order. Thank you. Adana ngasai haiba system approach na magi assumption khar lai ko assumption khar tawi assumption si kai na kanda koina system ama naina pa kanda haiba systems data kari yauge haiba kanda consists of discernible, regular, and internally consistent patterns. Patterns kya ama ko magi consistent oiba ai sini mai ni haidana koi kayani koi magi top na magi salon ama puraga magi masad ama maga sagona kanda adamaina koi sini aduni haidana koi na khangba ngamba discernible oiba ko aduga regular so oiba irregular oiba nataba adugumba regular so oiba aduga sini mai ni adana masak su khangdok ngamba adu patterns kya ama ko manung sida koi yauri ko is interacting with another. However, patterns in si amaga su interact amaga su koigi mari naina bahai batare ko aduga and giving on the whole the picture of a self-regulating order. Adana masagi haiba patterns me amsigi interaction amasu laizare mai koi maseni maragda aduga haiba patterns sing su koina khangdokpa ngamme ko sini mai ni adana magi to salon khara haidare ko aduga masat khara yauzare aduga loina na ngasai hai ba holes me koina semgale ba holes si masige doba is a fixture of a self-regulating order masana marom dom koi regulate tawzaraga masana marom dom semzaraga oizaba adugumba order ma haibtare adugumba phibam amada lay have can say have a system approach na assume have certain assumptions. It is thus the study of a set of interactions occurring within and yet analytically distinct from the larger system. Aduna akoina system approach the akoina nainarati ba akoina tamgado se kai magadi masagi set of interactions occurring within and yet analytically distinct from the larger system. Aduna ngasai larger system ziki manung sidadi yauraga asagi madoida manung da interact taweba interaction taweba my elements in have dare ko amaga dagi akoina ꯉꯁꯥꯏꯒꯤ ꯃꯁꯛ ꯇꯣꯞ ꯇꯣꯞꯄ ꯃꯥꯒꯤ ꯃꯁꯛ ꯍꯥꯏꯕ ꯇꯥꯔꯦ ꯃꯑꯣꯡ ꯃꯇꯧ ꯑꯃꯗꯤ ꯑꯗꯨꯗꯤ ꯀꯥꯏꯗꯅ ꯂꯩꯔꯀꯥꯟꯗ ꯉꯁꯥꯏꯒꯤ ꯂꯥꯔꯖꯔ ꯁꯤꯁꯇꯦꯝꯗꯨꯒꯤ ꯃꯅꯨꯡꯗ ꯏꯟꯇꯔꯦꯛ ꯇꯧꯔꯀꯥꯟꯗ ꯂꯩꯕ ꯑꯗꯨꯒꯤ ꯃꯥꯒꯤ ꯔꯤꯂꯦꯁꯟꯁꯤꯞꯁ ꯍꯥꯏꯇꯥꯔꯦꯀꯣ ꯁꯦꯠ ꯑꯣꯐ ꯏꯟꯇꯔꯦꯛꯁꯟꯁ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯒꯗꯤ ꯉꯁꯥꯏꯒꯤ ꯂꯩꯔꯤꯕ ꯚꯦꯔꯤꯑꯦꯕꯜꯁ ꯃꯌꯥꯝꯗꯨꯒꯤ ꯏꯟꯇꯔꯦꯛꯁꯟꯁꯨ ꯃꯗꯨ ꯅꯩꯅꯕꯅꯦꯕ adana the systems theory presumes the existence of a whole on its own merit adana system theory jina ngasai gi ekoi gi presume to ba system theory have theory ji ekoi na sagalap kanda magi presumption ko sini hadana low ba haidare ko madu ekoi gi kupthani yengba kanda khara soitokba yaba yada ba khara leibi yai adu itarasu ngasai gi ayamana ngasai gi sumaina theoretical keno ma frame ama sagalap kanda ekoi gi certain presumptions ka adu gi keno stay da kona sagale ko adana haiba myam se gi marakta hamada pc systems theory gi kaino se mana IC existence of a whole on its own merit whole ama apunba magi ko masagama koi lei haidana ko magi leibam thopagi haidare maram saba ko maram sana leibam thopagi apunba masak ama leijai haibaji ma koina mayamna yanaraga lore ani subada the whole consisting of parts adoga haiba apunba masagaji mu kayani ko masidaida tongan tonganba saruk mayama ko parts mayama su yawi habaji su is the second presumption hum subada the whole existing apart from the other wholes adoga loinana aikoina refer to the whole apunbagi masak ama haibase masi atopa adugumba apunba masak haibtare ko mayama leiba ko aduga haiba akoina refer to the whole se is kayani ko gi tonga le haibtare tonga na mai tonga tana leijaba the existing apart from other wholes and there is a kayani ko gi plurality of wholes ko tonga tonga wholes me ama le exist tore aduga akoina whole ama refer to ganda ma se atopa wholes me amdagi ko gi tonga na tokai ta na ko gi leijabani hadna ko low ne is whole influencing the other and in turn being influenced itself aduna haiba akogi apunba magi whole amamamna kedoba atopa whole sing dasu influence tawi aduga mangon dasu atopana akogi influence of like kind of interaction among the wholes haitare the parts of the whole are not only interrelated but also interact with one another thereby creating a self-evolving work adana ngasai whole amagi magi manungda parts me ama yawi hadana faina yana raiba adana haiba parts me amsi kedoba are not only interrelated parts me amsi amaga maga bagi mari thongna ba haidare ko maga influence thongna ba amana amada ithil pi ba ko adugumba oi aduga loinana interact with one another thereby creating a self-evolving work sai mamang haibdo magi koigi self-sustain tawjaba my order ma haiba tare self-regulating oijaba self-evolving oiba adugumba kaino mo oiba haiba wholes da yauriba magi pass ma'am se interact tawi they are in interaction with each other one another and then there is interrelations among them aduna ngasai self-evolving work ama we create the web the emphasis of the systems theory is on the articulation of the system and of its components and their behaviors by means of which it maintains itself over time aduna ngasai systems theory na maroin haiji kaino agadi system ama leiba aduga system du man du yoiba my components parsing haidare ko masak sing ko mai saru tongan masak saru masa sing ko haidare aduga mai khoi gi leinariba interaction mai khoi gi behaviors ko mai khoi gi mo matau sing masa sing ko adu kedoba by means of which it maintains itself over time adi matam sang na magi system jina operate tawjaga ma self evolving oiba self regulating oiba mechanism mu oina adumaina leira kanda components me amasu yaujaba whole gi marakta aduga sai mogi masa sing abda ma khoi behavior amaga kamai interact tawi amana amada kamaina influence tawi having a symbol gi siri pora maina leijaba eno mane ko systems theory na khoi thami wa pamje athanga genesis of the systems approach kamaina horak yagi magi horak lon habatare khoi lon da ko magi horak lon je kitang background the genesis of systems approach can be traced to the German biologist Ludwig von Bertalanffy, who introduced the general systems theory in the study of biology in the 1930s. German biologist Ludwig von Bertalanffy haiba miyoi asina mana general systems theory haidana biology naina bogi tamakta 1930s ki matamda 1930s ki kogi tangkak swaida mana kogi general systems theory ji biology naina bogi tamakta mana kogi puthurakiba kaino mane approach amane ko Bertalanffy defined a system as a set of elements formulating in interaction. Bertalanffy na thamiba waro se kaino kana system ama haga se kaino a set of elements formulating in interaction. System zida the system has its constituent elements haga tare ba aduga elements in system ko elements formulating in interaction. Elements in si amaga interaction to by that amaga interact or kanda haiba system z without such an interaction among these elements there can be no system haiba tare adugi kaino si what was Bertalanffy na thamme the concept is based on the idea that elements within a group are in some way or the other related to one another and in turn interact with one another on the basis of certain identifiable processes aduna utana harakanda mana haiba process karino haragadi sigi conception haisi group ama system ama lere system jimanu the elements in yawre ko ai manga su thamre adu bu ngasai haiba system jimanu yawre elements in si sai amaga su related winary elements in si ki marak sa ko they are interrelated haiba they are interrelated they are interacting with one another. Interrelated elements at the same time interacting with one another on the basis of certain identified magi masak ama samaina koigi kenosida Bertalanffy na thamiba post da koina karino system ama haibasi kaino systems de yaw isi kaino elements sina kamaina to no haibagi mo mato ko machi koigi mo masase koina sidaida yam sugaina koigi thamme ko. Since the 1960s, systems theory or systems analysis became an important element in the study of political science. As I 1930s, the Bertalanffy na developed over general systems theory is biology na naba koigi seasonabani mana puthopuni adu 1960s gi matam sidaida di system theory or system analysis haibasi political science naina bada yamna maru ba adu ba ko element amoina ko we seasonaba hora ka 1960s gi matam sidadi ko. In his book A Systems Analysis of Political Life ko 1965 the pongi ba David Stern gi laishida mana kay hana define taweganda. Stern defined a political system as that behavior or set of interactions through which authoritative allocations are met and implemented for society. Adana ngasagi David Stern tamizing ngasagi political system ngasagi koi mamangda koi system ama koi self-regulating weba order ama my mechanism ama koi leijabo madu kamaina mana political system ama masakta kya kana magi lai sidaida behavior or set of interactions through which authoritative allocations are met. Authoritative allocations, the authority have allocations have a certain authority amana established authority amana mana sita odamni sumaita odamni having magi CP dawni CPO dawni have not sugumagi allocation either magi functions magi my powers yi season haidare authorities ko aduga maduka ida maduta in hagadi implemented for society adugi implementation to yawdragadi my system to is political system the operator is kaino ha kanna sai for the collective welfare of the society oidini magi kaino se ba my underlying kaino se koi kaya significance ba tare ko magi adu itadi ngasai interaction tawre aduga interaction tawida authoritative allocations ki port ama yauri aduga haiba authoritative allocations in se kari tawi no agadi madu society tu hena kumang option na ba aduga khunai du da disorder chaos ko adugi political kaino sin si tensions ko suguma myam se ko thok na ba hai da magi order ma maintain tawga thamba yan no ida makta authoritative allocations map tawe adugi interactions map adugi masai mana political system ama aduna oi hada mana thamne. He argued that is part of the political canvas does not stand alone but is related to other parts. Mana wahai again when the political canvas mada yauriba mai saruk amase saruk khodimak se magi tokhai taraga khoi leiba posak na te mai khoi khodimak se amaga marisu lainai aduga doba the operation of one part cannot be fully understood without reference to how the whole system operates. Yamaru iba poni ba sagi hai ba part amana operate tobasi kamaina tawibno haibasi masi masak se mapung phana khangba je ngam ya haiba taragadi masagi whole system to kamaina operate tawi haiba madu khangba mathau da whole system to kamaina operate tawi haiba khangragadi masagi system to be part ama mana tawi se kai no mai mathau da se kai no kamai kai no ma tawi je mai operation se kai no na khangna na khona rai sin kogi oi thokte haibani. Prominent scholars who advocated for a systems approach are Gabriel Almond, Magi Maruiba, like comparative politics and developmental approach, David Epter, Introduction to Political Analysis, Carl Dusky, Magi Nation and World, Contemporary Political Science, Morton Kaplan, My System and Process in International Politics, Harold Laswell, Power and Society ko hadna sumaina ko ilai ko no sin simaruina system approach ki proponents ni ka adu ko measure works ngavtare. If we want to know more about system approach in detail, then we have to go through these books at least some of these books do report ni. Next next section is historical context adana ko context in naina basi amathau tai ko approach ma magi evolve toropa develop toropa habasi ngasai ki hoina magi historical context kai is minus sumba approach ma for is minus safong ai no minus thori no kamaina kai sumba ma sema khriba no habagi pose khamna wana kana hoina historical context ying de bade. As the traditional approaches to the study of comparative politics proved futile, the need to understand it in a scientific manner became more important. Then saya horrible high in my context. Traditional approaches na comparative politics to nainana ba hona ba sidai da thoidokpa mai pak ta ba tare. Magi yamna limitations labor weakness labor na maram oi kanda magi futility ha da ko gi ariyamata comparative politics asi phana study tawna bu hona ba traditional approach ngai sizinaba sina thoidopa kana ba phamdrabadagi maram oirakanda kari haini ko scientific oiba manner da ko saigi comparative politics in naina buje kamaya naina gadagi hadna thirapagi search saiba tare ko that is the first question I thought adana madu thirapagi ni pathology the influence of other disciplines both natural and social sciences and their mutual interdependence gave a new impetus for looking out these disciplines afresh and brought to the fore the idea that scientific analysis is the only way to understand politics. Aduga ngasagi hai baserak sidai kamai the influence of other disciplines. Zagi traditional process ngai zigi magi weakness and limitations me ama ko understand tawreka. Adu laire habasi akoina khangba matam lagi di madugi limitations and weakness address to ba madu yawda ba madu dagi hena matik mayai leiba hena mapung marai phaba approach ma karamba approach oigadagi habagi thirapagi lambi ste jamu thenari je amana tonga ba disciplines ko bagi leiba bagi yani bagi my subjects sing have dare my disciplines sing sigi mai ko ithil ko mai ko saitheng ithil masi ko lamba both natural and social sciences. aduga loinana their mutual interdependence amaga koi kari hani amana amadagi mating lawrakanda koi chokhat minaba habtare haiba disciplines myam se ko science natural science gi social science na puba social science gi science na puba oi bi ko the tonga statistics gi natraga mathematics gi economics gi ko mind to na koi putho pusin tar kanda magi interdependence ki keno ma koi si lai bo disciplines myam se gi manak ta ko adana ngasai gi impetus for looking out these disciplines appraised and brought to the fore the idea of scientific analysis. Zagi nahong na looking afresh looking out these disciplines afresh. Inaw na muk masagi yeng mai dare kamai tawragadi karamba approach tagi karamba pambai sizinaragadi comparative politics se he na mo marin ta na koina nainaba ya dagi zigi lambi je thirap kansida bagi anoba idea ma bagi thola khrab. You know, scientific analysis is the only way to understand politics. Scientific analysis yaudana politics to masakhang bai base masi petoktabani haba masigi wakalon je ma kogi yani ko thorke basi ke no side adana ngasagi interdependence ki aduga discipline masen gi ko natural science social sciences sigi marashde da kayani influence to na bagi potani one example is sagi kogi biology na ba season na ba do ba kogi general systems theory duna sagi political science na ba kogi systems theory we na kogi sapong wa khre ni ba do gi mong du mang ni sagi lainari ba kogi interdependence among kogi discipline side are ba sigi pose the post Second World War period witnessed in the USA particularly a fundamental shift in the writings of numerous American scholars when they began to borrow a lot from other social and natural sciences so as to give new empirical orientation to political studies. Second World War loi krabam matung sida ko di maroina USA sida Europa anoba sanabi hay tare fundamental shift anoba ahongba ma anoba concept ama sagi American scholars ngai sina mai koina kai haba ko political science political studies to work the go koi irakpa works myam state the American scholars ngai na ga borrow a lot from other social and natural sciences American political science scholars myam sina mai koi tongan writings kya ma ko koi works in state the political studies to na bukhona kanda empirical orientation sai scientific way of thinking empirical orientation ji sai scientific and a scientific way by analysis to udubuni na masi or na bukhana kanda American scholar ngai na koi social sciences aduga natural sciences to koi borrow to magi no way aba kana ba kai mo myam se koi methods tan khangde approach tan khangde ko moi mieng thamaganda atopa disciplines in the koi pu hawra pai dare ko the Social Science Research Council USA की Social Science Research Council ने contributed a lot to provide an environment in which scientific analysis in comparative politics could be carried on. Adana USA की Social Science Research Council लाइव सी नसाई याम ना कहीं नहीं सी scientific analysis in comparative politics service नसाई scientific way बा research का scientific way बा analysis ताऊना बगी सही दा कोई याम ना lamyan bai da so ba koi contribution ko khudol kya to ke ba du ba koi academic and no council mo social science research council I USA ke no sa foundations such as the Ford Foundation, the Rockefeller Foundation and the Carnegie Foundation provided liberal funds for studies in comparative politics high bus kaino sigi atopa disciplines me amdagi pu bo khot pagi pora ma laire aduga scientific analysis to bagi pora ma laire ko ada sigi mathak sida mo ngasai tonga ma foundation sing ko maroina bagi sokat baleba sinda USA da maroina ke to ba foundation sing kaya sina su ngasai senthang kaya ama thada rakanda comparative politics ki yani bagi masi he na naina ba he na masi gi mopo mari phaba keno ma ko oina bu khona be tam koi gi senthang ai ba tare siani mateng si chu matik so mateng koina pangki The introduction of the systems analysis, like other modern approaches in comparative politics by writers like Eastern, Almond, and Kaplan, was in fact a reaction against the traditional tendency of unidimensionalization, impending in the process the patterns of scientific analysis. System analysis se system approach, system analysis, and comparative politics ki posi haudorakibagi posi maruena Easternoi Almond Kaplan honar kizik kaidagi no hakana traditional approach na sagi unidimensional meba ko koigi kayani sini aidana koigi miyeng ama haidare wakan miyeng amagi kano khatangda ko pangkai amada khatada koigi fix tawraganda madudagi ko khongpham amadagi lepagi jengba ko madugi masatto madugi hainabidudagi thadoganda koigi scientific oiba mongda sagi study tawrnabagi lambisi atotopa kari kari leiyadana koigi dimensions kya madagi haitare namaina yengba horopagi pora masamaina lakhiba ko which make possible the unification of all knowledge. And high by unidimensionalization ki post thado matung da koigi tunga ba dimensions kya ama seasonaraga koigi comparative political studies tawrapadagi di ngasai knowledge high ba new bagi wakhal loksing ki pukai jing ngasai kai hani amatoina tasalapa punsalapa yabagi ko adagi otoba maso sumaina kai sagai ngasai natural sciences, social sciences disciplines me amase amaga interdependent oiba amadagi borota or the seasonal pasi formula seasonal. The systems approach looks at the social phenomenon as a set of interactive relationships. Adana ngasagi systems approach na ngasagi social phenomenon ama kamaina yengbagi habaga social phenomenon ama habaze as a set of interactive relationships oina kogi lower habadi ngasagi maduda yauriba kogi variables in hayasiko maduda makogi marakta lainariba kogi interaction ko madugi interactive relationships madu oina sagi laiba interactive relationships mamdu maduna ngasagi social phenomenon se kogi thon mani habagi ko adugi relationship to laitragadi social phenomena ma habse kesu thoi habagi ke adamaina thammeba ngasagi system approach na yeba miense general systems theory and systems theory ko general systems theory aba ma ngasai biology laina bada kogi 1930s da ko season bagi ama laikre aduga ngasagi political science sidaida kogi masi study tawna bu hona pada systems theory hadana masina 1960s gi size dagi kogi sapong akiba ko masi aniji markta laiba khena basina kaino manama kaino habagi ko maroina khena basigi matang se da koi hapiam yengsi distinction duni ngasagi khena ba ko while the general systems theory gives the impression of a system as one which is as integrated as the parts of the human body, the systems theory does recognize the separate existence of parts. Distinction is main oina karino hakanda system general systems theory na low is in a system ama haidana refer to pakansa palak pakansa system amagi manung sida kogi parts me amadi yawani masi mekoina sudum yaze ado haiba parts me amji magi existence kamaina tawya ganda kogi miyobagi haksang da koi tongan ba kogi organs ko parts me amase khud khong ko ko gi koi heart the liver ado da koi yaw organs me amsi sagi integrated to ba yawi adi amaga magaze kogi yam set pa mari amana kogi kayani kogi tasal laga haiba tare ko kogi apunba masaga ka dare tonga ba kogi saru myamsi amatto ena punsal laga amatto ena tasal laga integrated human body mo ena structure ma thopo je smai to jana kogi system je me koina low adubu ngasagi systems theory gi oina di kai dowa system haiba ma whole haiba ma koina ubakanda madui da yawiba parsing se masigi mai separate existence is really recognized so adana ngasai gi khena je khar lai je ko separate existence of parts sing ngasai gi kenona koi general system theory jina koi gi madu recognize taude magi di integrated the parts have been integrated into one whole body have the general system theory in the general system theory advocates organized unity of the system, whereas the system theory speak of unity in diversity. Then the general system theory in the high is organized unity of the system. System have parts unity. Without this organized unity, the system is missing. System is organized unity. Only passing to there is no unity, organized unity. So the question of a system doesn't arise. Then system is system theory unity in diversity. Apunba have to lay upon Masigi Maraxida with Tuan passing Zigimagi separate existences recognized well. It has not been possible to make use of the concepts of general systems theory in social sciences such as political science, while the systems theory has been able to provide concepts such as input-output stability, equilibrium, feedback, which have been well recognized by the empirical political scientists. General systems theory possibly social science political science scope se applications systems theory concepts political science input output stability of the system, equilibrium, feedback, empirical political scientists, scientific inquiry, scientific analysis of political science. System theory concepts develop explain explanatory powers established system analysis characteristic features. System analysis ki magi leiba kogi song saktam sing magi masat sing system analysis implies system as a set of interactions magi set of interactions yawdana magi system ji leiridini magi system is the yawizi kogi set of magi elements sing magi parts me the parts these parts are interrelated at the same time they are interacting with one another. System system analysis Young says it is a set of objects together with relationships between the objects and between their attributes. Posak miyamagi apunba manya aduga maikogi marakta leiba objects miyamagi marakta leiba mari sing habatare aduga masagi relationships between the objects and between their attributes maikogi momato masat sing habatare adu miyamagi apunba dunna masagi sagalapu kaino system am haijeko. To say that a system exists is to say that it exists through its elements, say objects and its elements are interacted and they interact within a pattern frame. In a different words. In other words, the system exists the way have elements later. Say objects elements elements multiplicity of my parts elements in objects interacted with interaction they interact within a pattern frame have the regular web pattern adum maga se interact tawbugi mawong ama hada adu mawong ma taw ma koi lay haida adu kan system ma exist taw adi pattern nama later di mu yadri interaction taroga su na sigi pose yang na thamani ko system analysis elaborates for understanding the system itself as set of concepts which include subsystem environment input output conversion process feedback etc adana system analysis na mo system ma je masakhang na wona kanda magi concepts ke ama mo pe pusale ko haiba concepts sida ko subsystem yauri environment yauri system input output conversion process feedback haidana ko ama mo si ma si ko punna mo haiba concept na je khang daga le ko na mo system haiba si kai no haiba je ko na khang mo system implies persisting relationships demonstrating behavioral patterns among its numerous parts, say objects or entities. Adana system na masagi system amana minta wisi kaino system ama habisi kaino na higher podcast nga sagi persisting relationships. Sagi interaction laire relationships laire adu bu masagi relationships sing nga sagi kaya ni persisting oido magi lepa laitana dum homba naitana adum mari thoga lai ba da mari thonga aduga magi demonstrating behavioral patterns amazu magi behavioral patterns amazu sini mai ni haidana koi mai mo mato masal amasu koi laiga ne ko magi past man sima a system that constitutes an element of a larger system is called a subsystem dana sai conception siki magi am samba definition ha tare masi koi thamai ni ko dana system ama khangna bo honara pakanda koina amada a system that constitutes an element of a larger system so ba larger system amagi manungda yauzaba system amase koina kari hana kawdagi hakanda subsystem hana koina kawna a system within a system have a system within a larger system a system within a larger system is called a subsystem. The setting within which the system occurs or works is called environment. System ama laita di system dana magi existori ba operatori ba magi environment habam sulaira ni haidare. The line that separates the system from its environment is known as boundary. Aduga system ama lai ba habse magi boundary ama sulaida ni boundary marker ama ka. The boundary dana ngasai environment do the lai ba system ze atopa system dagi environment dagi koi to khai and ne magi distinct kanoma kayani koi existence ma create over boundaries in the system obtains inputs from the environment in the form of demands upon the system and supports for its functioning then a system jina kai ba environment dagi inputs nya phangeba in the form of demands upon the system the CPU adu tawai na koi demand do ba da system jina si environment de lagni aduga support for its functioning environment dagi amu asagi kayani system jema mathau tawraga leina bagi ko magi functioning si leida mating support tengbang su phang ba da and environment se koi maru hoye the environment provides the inputs in the form of demands upon the system and also its supports for its functioning system my function as the system operates inputs are subjected to what may be called conversion process and it leads to system outputs embodying rules to be enforced or policies to be implemented adana masagi system ama maji operator ma system ama magi mathau je pangtho ba kanslei da kedamani sagi haiba inputs from the environment in the form of demands upon the system are subjected to conversion process adana sagi input sing se kedawa system jina output on ho gene input se kai de lai environment de lai ba input sing se system da thazalani system dana magi haiba input sing se demands me ama lai mana consider tawni adu kan mana conversion process ama sathagani ko my decision making kai system lagini ko adu ga masai edawa system dana output me thadorani output sing se kai no ha kan dana sai rules to be enforced si chanagadabani sigi chanakam ngakadabani tawgadabani tawaidabani adagi sigi policies kya ma haida asi puthoije magi system duda thajaniba input sing dudagi madugi kayani respond oina puthoropa conversion process ki matang da thoropa output sing ne when system outputs affect the environment so to change or modify inputs feedback occurs aduga system dudna puthoreba ngasagi input sajan gre environment dagi pirakpa input sing do system du sajan ga kanda system dudagi thadoreba output sing rules to be enforced policies to be implemented haiba output sing sina kaigumba environment dugu sai thing piraba karama monda so to change or modify inputs environment na hana piramba magi input sing se masidaida kai haini ahongba porakpa mawongda system duna operate taraga magi conversion process ki makhapona pithorakpa outputs ibadi rules to be enforced and policies to be implemented masina environment dagi generate tarokada ba input sing sibu honganba modify tawagi posi ngamapo oibata agadi madula kedore feedback occurs feedback amanda tholero adi environment gi input into conversion process adagi the output and then new inputs maita na kogi generator basida kogi my feedback is cycle ma ko the create or the system approach has the following characteristics the system approach magi kariani characteristics in jamu yengiko a social phenomenon does not exist in isolation but numerous parts join together to make a whole it is a unit a living unit with existence and a goal of its own and a social phenomenon amaji koina kariani naitom moina ko maji ithat amagi type ta kogi lamnai daba isingi park amada kogi isolated oina ithada moina maji tawraga leibana te social phenomenon haibase numerous parts tonga magi masak sing ko masa mareng sing nyam si kechidoba punsalaganda amatoiba holama sagi semdene haiba holje unit ama oina living unit ama oina leirakanda magi goals of its own mana exist of the maram maibata my pandam kai exist of the haidana magi pandam amasu yarakanda magi leidine living unit ama oina its part may not be and are not organically related together, but they do make a whole in the sense that they interact and interrelated. In another words, the hibernate. And the haiba whole ama later. The holes in manunda pass me ama yawika. The haiba pass me am sekedoba. Organically related together. Organically amaga kogi related oiba yai oidaba yai tabu ko moina holama apunba moina sema kanda kai jangya kanda they interact and they are interrelated organically related oidaba yai but they are interrelated and they are interacting with one another have a positive message yawane sigi kan whole sigi manu de yawiba passing sigi specific behavioral relationships patterns them into a living system. Behavioral relationships pattern behavioral relationships living system pattern it operates through a mechanism of inputs and outputs and under within an environment which influences it and which in turn provides feedback to the system to the environment. System to the inputs hazalaga the conversion process rules to be enforced, policies to be implemented when output in a thadore the environment to the influence feedback same. This main concern is as to how best it maintains itself and faces the challenges of decay and decline. Aduga system jigi magi kay hani concern ji kay no aganda kamaina magi existence maintain tawda yabs self-regulating mechanism no operator ganda sagi tholai ba challenges singna ba ma decay and decline ba magi sidara ba kogi mapunsi kamak baida la shalapa suguma myamsi thengna ba haidare. It implies pattern relationships among its numerous parts, explaining their relative behavior and the role they are expected to perform. Now, pattern relationships among its numerous parts. System dugi numerous parts they da koi pattern relationships ma'am yawarani aduga maduna maikoi gi leiba relative maikoi behavior maikoi mo matosi masi masu tai aduga maikoi na tawdoi ba maikoi na lowda thodang se karino haiba jimsu masi masu tai aduna ngasi oina di sumai tawdana koina unit 4 gi systems approach gi saruk se sumaina hamba gi parts sumaina ngasi classes da specialist ko aduna makhata koda gi lemhoi ba saruk ko unit 4 gi lemhoi ba saruk sida mo khena kai kai details yawe abdo ko mu yamina si ngasi gi oina di ko gi system approach gi class ko ngasi side da specialist